prior video, but I listen to a different one every day, and it's been phenomenal in my spiritual growth and also reading the Word of God. I host what's called My Utmost, from the book My Utmost, a daily post, a daily journal, and that's just my own personal journey, right? Today, we're going to be starting our next 30-day clarity in the area of family, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But as a part of what we do, I always like to start with a silent prayer, and if you would each indulge me just for a moment, we're going to have a silent meditation, and after that, we're going to go ahead and officially open up this phenomenal opportunity for each of us to consider family first. All right, so let us pray. All right, amen. I always like to thank God for the breath of life, such an itty bitty thing, but oh, so how powerful. So, whatever that means for you, that is our prayer for today. All right. Now, as a part of what we're focusing on, we have like I said, a self-confidence formula. We're going to share that, and I'm going to ask if someone would like to read it for us. Otherwise, I will read it. Then we're going to invite our guests. We're going to invite each of you to introduce yourselves, and after that, we will introduce our 30-day winner, which is none other than, yes, Mr. Rita Dennis. And then also, as a part of the recap, I would like to have one of our newest members we're going to introduce you to. We have 2 new members, but one of our newest members from last month had a phenomenal testimonial on Friday, and we'll share with you our Friday Thinking Grow Rich, Friday Accountability Mastermind, which we host on Friday, which allows all of us an opportunity to read something and share an aha from the reading of the book Think and Grow Rich. And we come on every Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, and we share one aha moment. But we also share one business goal we'd like to be held accountable for. And so I'm going to ask Veronica shortly if she would be willing to share her experience with her first month here with us. And then we're going to talk about some ideas centering around family, and for me, some family highlights. So if we can go ahead now, and I'd like to introduce any of you that are visiting here. We're going to read the self-confidence formula, and then after that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to introduce all of our guests. All right, so could I get a volunteer to read the self-confidence formula? Otherwise, I can read it. All right, I'll go ahead and read it. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action toward it, and gradually transform itself into physical reality. Therefore, I and McNeill will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Thirdly, I know that through the principle of autosuggestion that any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Now, fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure except built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction that does not benefit all whom it affects. And I'd have to take a moment there, because every time I recite that or read it or quote it, I am reminded, but I'm also convicted. I'm reminded, but I'm also convicted. Now, to continue, I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never, ever, 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 ever bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. Finally, number 6, I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually transform my thoughts and actions so that I would become a self-reliant and successful person. That is the self-confidence formula that we, as a part of this mastermind, we write daily. And as a part of our 30-day test, we give highlights and spotlight to those individuals or individual that has actually done this this writing of the self-confidence along with some of the other activities. And so I would like to, at this moment, go ahead and introduce those of you that are here for the very first time. If you would come on camera and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and what motivated you to join us today, please. Okay, how about we? Okay, go ahead. You can come off mute yourself, or I can call your name. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
My name is
My
Sydney.
name is Sid.
I'm here in the South Florida region. My background is in IT consulting. And what brought me to this call today is that I am a part of the volunteer um, cohort within IMA. And so I'm new within the International Mastermind Association. And I'm here to learn more from you all, but help shape and bring some more structure into the volunteer organization. So I would love to listen in and engage with you all as this is a more established group. So thank you for allowing me to attend.
All right, thank you. All right, next, please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Nicole Allen. I am here in the Washington, D.C. area. I am very, very new to the concept of mastermind, and I have made intentional efforts to move towards a collective that, engaging in a collective group that sort of speaks to my desire and my will for my life. And so this organization has been one of the key organizations I've been looking at to become more engaged and more thoughtful, I guess, in terms of being intentional about my life. So happy to be here and excited to see quite a few people. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Nicole. Who'd like to introduce themselves next, please? Okay, on my screen, I have Clevens.
Clevens, I think you might still be on mute.
Okay, Clevens, I'm not
Thank
sure if
you.
you're saying.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
go ahead.
Sydney.
Thank
I
you.
did not realize that. Thank you so much. My name is Clevens Gary, and I own a construction management company in West Palm Beach. And I've been introduced to the mastermind idea in December of 2025. And talk about family. Just have my son with me trying to ask me a question about something. Just pick him up from school. But I attended the mastermind in January, and I received the email, I think this week, to be a part of this one. And I signed up, and here I am today. I'm looking forward to be here every first Tuesday of the month with you guys.
Thank you.
Unmute, Miss Sandy.
Thank you, Clevens. All right. Do we have anybody else who's here for the first time? We do have our members that's also here. Alexandria. Alexandria.
Alexandria, are you able to unmute at this time? Alexandria, there she goes.
Here we go. Hey everybody, my name is Alexandria Bates. I'm from Houston, Texas. I run a parking lot maintenance and parking lot asphalt company. And I was introduced to y'all during the luncheon that we all did last week. And I'm very happy to be a part of this group and grow with all of y'all as individuals in a collective.
Thank you so very much, everyone, for joining. And we are going to right now go ahead and I'd like to first have our 30-day winner, Miss Doretha Dennis. If we can just give her a clap, clap, snap, snap, and send her some love for writing that self-confidence formula every day. It has been a labor of love, and I would tell everybody over and over, Doretha keeps me going because I know that I'm 6 hours behind all of you. So me trying to write my self-confidence formula and beat her is not even a question. I am so happy to follow you, Doretha, every single day. And so if you want to come off mute and share this experience and what this has been like for you, it is greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. As I said for the last couple of years, this has become a part of what I do every morning. I start out early, maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock, because I know I have a lot of things I want to accomplish before the sun rises. And writing the self-confidence formula is a part of that. There are pieces of it that has changed who I am, in statement number 5, it has some very, very powerful statements in it about how we should behave as humans and try to help change the world by behaving that way, eliminating hatred and selfishness. And so I try to live that from day to day. Also, and there was a part of the challenge listening to Earl Nightingale and carrying around that card in my pocket and keeping it before me every day, every morning. And so that part of the task was kind of challenging for me. So I realized, well, I couldn't find it. And then I said, I made several copies. I keep one in my office and one in the kitchen and one in my bedroom. So if I didn't read it before I leave my office, then when I get in another location of the house, I'll have it so that I can read it. But that too was put thoughts in your mind about achieving, putting action items in place to achieve the goals that you have in mind. So that too was I would say was mind changing. Putting thoughts in my mind to help me achieve the goals that I set for myself. So yes, the challenge was great this month. Thank you.
All right. Well, we have a new member. We're going to introduce everybody. We actually have 2. And so if we can bring up the JPEG for the 2 new members. And Veronica, I would love to have you share your experience. You came on Friday and you shared a phenomenal testimonial. But our newest 2 members is Miss Veronica Anderson of Anderson and Associates PA firm from the state of Florida, just happened to be housed in Orlando area. And Sherry Hughes, she's a realtor at eXp Realty. And we want to thank both of them for joining us and becoming new members with the Clarity Mastermind. So, Miss Veronica, if you would be willing to come on camera and share with us your experience for the last 30 days, we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Anne, for bringing me on to talk about my experience over the past 30 days, which has been phenomenal. I have been intending to connect with Anne and her group. I've been looking at it over the years and saying, one of these days I'm going to do that. And I finally did it this year, starting in January, right around my birthday. And I was just really struck in reading the book, Think and Grow Rich. The one on infinite intelligence is the one that really touched me greatly, because it talks about thinking creative ideas and insights and intuitions and being in alignment with other people who will spark, something. It's kind of like you're both thinking almost like the same thing. So through people and circumstances. And so I encountered a circumstance during the month where a consultant reached out to me and said, the disadvantaged business enterprise programs are in trouble. I know you have a background in this. You need to, reach out and help the DBE firms get their personal narratives together. And I was like, no, I'm not going to even pursue it for myself. I don't think it's worth it, on and on. And I just kind of dismissed it. However, I continued reading, being inspired, and then the person reached out to me again. I also did a webinar, and it just kept coming back to me that this is something, that I am right to do. So I just thought that infinite intelligence part was really, really key. So basically, I jumped out there and started doing some definite steps towards addressing this issue every day, and at night reading it and writing down some of the definite steps that I took. And I think it was last week, Broward County sent out an announcement to DBEs giving them a deadline for when they had to have certain documents submitted in order to be recertified. And I was like pretty much on target with so many of the tasks that I had outlined from my daily readings and writing stuff each night, that I was able to jump on it that evening and began to send out e-blast to firms in Florida, and got my first client this week. And three more that want to talk to me. And so I just know that it has to do with the fact that I am now more consistently reading and following through and taking definite steps and aligning myself with people who have like thoughts. And I think this group is a part of that alignment. I feel that infinite intelligence, I call it God, put me with this group just to get me more grounded and focused on just being more disciplined in my thinking. So thank you. That's my testimonial.
I am so inspired because when you came on Friday, and again, I want to encourage all of you to join us every Friday morning. Michelle, could you drop that in the chat, in the Zoom, and also in the chat on YouTube? Veronica has been writing that self-confidence. You want to talk about the writing of that self-confidence formula, Veronica, please?
It is, so I have read the book before. I've been walking, listening to it on audio. It's not the same as writing it. When you write it, there's something about the eye and the brain and the spirit that just kind of comes together, and it just seeps deeper, kind of like deeper into the bones. And so my writing it has made me really focus on certain words that maybe I skipped when I was walking and listening, or when I was just glancing through it as I flipped the pages. That writing it down has made a big, big difference. And I encourage everybody to do that, because it forces you to look at those words and begin to internalize it. So writing has been a key component for my being successful this month.
While you were speaking, I was looking back. Could you pull up that JPEG again, Victoria? I just want to, before we go, to the presentation, I want to share with everybody something that she did based upon something that she's saying. The JPEG of the self-confidence formula, if you can pull that up. And I want everybody to look at what we're writing and what we're saying in the self-confidence formula. And this is what I want us all to see. There's a section here that says, I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Now, it literally takes, depending upon what situation you're in, it can take 15 to 20 minutes, and for some of us 30 minutes to actually write this self-confidence formula. And basically it goes on to say, therefore I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Now drop down here to number 5. Excuse me. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore I will engage in no transaction that does not benefit all whom it affects. Now this is what I want to get to based upon what Veronica said. I will succeed. And I get chills just to think about when I first heard you Friday speaking about the work you've been doing. And it's like the universe, God, the Spirit, just drew to you every resource you needed. This says, I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I'm going to stop there because that sentence by itself, when you say it, write it, and believe it by faith, and just keep doing it every single day, how do you miss a goal you can see, you can touch, you can feel, you can imagine? And it is really a very different kind of experience when you really get into this philosophy, and page by page, principle by principle. Veronica, I will share, you talked about reading it once or twice or 2 or 3 times, and also listening. And so there are many of us, we're literally almost in this book almost every day. And it's just like we've never read some of these because we're different. We're different. But I want to thank you. We do have some other individuals that are here. I want to acknowledge you. So Imelda Wallace, Sydney, Veronica, Willie Blue, thank all of you for joining us. We are going to go ahead to the presentation, and then we're going to go to our part of our program for the members only. But for the presentation, any questions before I start our presentation and our focus on family for this month of February? Just raise your hand. I just want to make sure out of respect I answer any questions before we start the presentation. All right, good evening, thank you. So in January, we started with the principle for the category focus for spiritual. This is our month of family. Now, this month is really all about the family. This is my boyfriend, my husband, over 50 years. We met in college at Florida Memorial University, and I call him my boyfriend even after all of these years. Over to the right is my brother, and I'm going to talk about him in just a moment because part of what we're going to talk about in this book, I wrote this book called How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group. How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group. And in this book, we have a survey that we ask everyone to take. And as a part of that survey, it talks about financial, which will be next month. And one of the financial areas I'd like to talk about just quickly as it relates to family, we have questions in here that says, and this is on our personal assessment. This is an assessment, and it's on page 56. But it says financial. It asks you, now we're going to talk about this month and the next month, but I want to bring it up now as it relates to family. So it asked the question, I ask everybody the question, do you have life insurance? Yes or no? Are all of your family members insured? Yes or no? Now, every one of these questions relative to this survey comes out of my personal life. So I hold a retreat once a year and it's called Life and Legacy, and it's in the first or second week in November every year. And it's a very small group, less than 10 individuals. And about almost 20 years ago, when I first started doing this, I realized my mom passed, and then later my father passed, and then I realized the financial impact it has on families. Now, this is our month of family, so I'm going to challenge each of you to deal and dig deep into these questions that we're going to ask you. So, as a part of my retreat, I ask people to bring their obituary. As a part of my retreat, I invite the funeral home director, and each year it might be the same or a different funeral home director. Well, the very first year I did this, I invited Dr. Barbara Carey Schuler, who was a Miami-Dade commissioner, and then she married into the funeral home business. Well, the first year I invited her, she told us about pre-needs, about purchasing a pre-needs policy. I'd never heard of pre-needs. My parents always got a life insurance policy and paid for it, only to find out, after 50 years of paying for it, that you paid more money in it than the money you got out. She said, no, you could just buy a pre-needs for a family member, and if you miss any payments, it doesn't matter. If you move out of state, it follows you because you're purchasing the pre-needs policy from the state, not from the funeral home director, and not from an insurance company. And I said, oh my gosh, all this money I'm paying for a life insurance policy. So what I did, the reason I put my brother in here, I just buried my brother in November of last year. 15 plus years ago, I purchased a policy for him. And pennies on the dollar. When he passed, and of course, the first thing you do when you know the loved one is passing, you want to make sure that everything is in place, because we're not going to go fund my brother, right? So I went to the funeral home, and they pulled out the policy. Of course, it was already paid for, and everything was covered. Everything was done. And I asked the lady, what if I had waited? The difference in what I paid for that policy and what it would cost me last year was almost $15,000 difference. Can you imagine? This is family. And I say this because many times we don't talk about family in terms of what we need to do to cover something as simple as a policy that you can buy from your pre-needs, from your state through your funeral home. And so I'm going to get off of that, but these are the kinds of masterminding conversations that we have about family. All right? Now, I included some of these photos, and these are photos of our family as we travel the world together. When my children were small, our children were small, we would look to have a family trip, and it could have been Disney, it could have been, go visit a family member in another state. But as we aged, we began to travel, and so we have traveled probably, I think, at least maybe a couple of hundred places all over the world. Yes, a couple of hundred. And last year we visited 72 ports. That's why I know it's a couple of hundred. And every year we have some kind of international travel. It didn't start like that. We started humbly with just a Disney trip. And so, again, we can go through a lot of these photos, and you can see many of us. My grandson and I, just to the left, we were in Cape Town for a week, and after we got there, we decided we didn't want to leave, and we stayed another week. I'm not going to go through all of these photos that just each one of them represent our travels, our family. I will mention, go back to the photo before this one. There's a picture at the bottom. Go backwards, please. There's a picture at the bottom. Victoria, if you can go backwards, please. I just want to mention my granddaughter that's holding this book. If you can expand that a little bit, you would see that this is actually a video of her 3 years old reading the book Think and Grow Rich. And if you expand your screen, you will see that this is a leather-bound copy of the book, this book, Think and Grow Rich. It's a different version. The book was gifted to me by the Napoleon Hill Foundation, which I'm also certified with. Now, the reason I highlight her is because she, at 3 years old, started learning to read. The video, the clip that I recorded her as she was not paying attention, because normally when they're that age and you put a camera on them or video on them, they don't want to be videoed. And she was telling me before, oh please, no video, grandma. But she was saying in the video eventually, what's this word? And she would read out the words that she knew. Now, the picture above this, you'll see to the right, it says Rajania, and she wrote her first book at 5, published at 6, Rajania the Early Reader. The picture to the left, she just published this book at 9. Last year, she published this book at 9. And so I'm not going to go on and on and on about her, but the same thing, all of our family members are published authors. Her brother, sitting at the bottom right hand corner with the dog, he published his first book at 9. And so she decided she wanted to outcompete him, so she published her first book at 6 and her second at 9. So again, this is family. This is our family. And this again is why I do what I do. Now, if you think about what are your family goals, next slide, please. And why do you do what you do? Again, these are just some travel photos of us. Next slide, please. The photo to the left is my 70th birthday a little while ago. Yes, 70th birthday. And that's a photo of our family. Next slide, please. Now, this is what I want to get to. These are some of the questions I'm going to challenge each of you to answer yourself, whether you're members of our mastermind or you're guests. Do you have a family mission statement? I really want to ask you to write these answers on a sheet of paper. And I do apologize for the noise because I am on a ship and I am in the restaurant and it's just getting good morning. And everybody's calling you by your name. Yes, everybody. Okay. So I want to ask each of you, answer these questions, please. Veronica, I'm going to go on mute. If you can read the questions aloud, just so that I can mute myself from the noise in my background.
Yes, the first question is, do you have a family mission statement? The second, do you have family time, monthly, weekly? The third question, do you make time to spend with your siblings? The next question, are all family members insured? And the last question, are you helping family members to set goals and make plans?
Okay, now these are the questions I'd like to each of you to ask, but also you can create your own questions. These are just questions that I mastermind with for myself. And I shared earlier, I wrote this book. It's called You Must Have a Dream to Have a Dream Come True. And when I started writing the book, 25, almost 30 years ago, I had to put it down because I had not lived the stories of every area of my life and really understanding how to have a better quality of life in every area of my life. It is called You Must Have a Dream to Have a Dream Come True. So what is your dream spiritually? What is your dream for your family, for your finances? I'm not going to go through the other 10 areas, but as you stop and just begin to compartmentalize your entire life. And some of you know me as a contractor, or you may know me as an investor, or you may know me as many different areas of my life. They each come out of this process of masterminding. Each of those come out of my life. And we put the link to the book, You Must Have a Dream. You can go to my website. All of this is on the website at annmcneill.com. A lot of this information. But this is the crux of what we will be focusing on for the month of February. These questions right here. And the answers to these questions as a part of our Clarity Mastermind, McNeill Factor Clarity Mastermind, this would be our focus. Next slide, please. Now, I mentioned that this is the book that we are reading. There are so many versions of this book. And oftentimes people ask me, well, why do you use that version? They have their own version. Well, one of the main reasons I use this version is because I'm in this version. Yes, I am in this version. Quick story, when the author, Ross Conwell, decided to revise the book and update the stories, because most people say, oh, the book is so old. Well, what he did, he took 10 years and he updated this book with current information. In the back of the book is called endnotes. But as he was doing his research and he wanted to do testimonials, he reached out to me and said, your name keeps coming up nationally all over the country. Every time we go and talk to other people, they mention your name. And he said, would you be willing to do a testimonial in the book? I said, sure, but that's not why you reached out to me. And he said, yes, that's why I reached out to you. I said, no. That's not why you reached out to me. And so we went back and forth for a couple of minutes. And then eventually he got a little upset. And he said, well, excuse me, with tone of voice. He said, well, so why didn't I contact you then if it was not because I wanted to know if you would be willing to do a testimony in the book? I said, you do believe in this philosophy, right? He said, absolutely. I used to work for the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I decided to update the book because so many people couldn't relate to it. And I've spent years of my life working on this. And I said, so you understand this philosophy and you believe in it? And I said it again. He said, yes. I don't understand. What are you getting to? He said, so I said this. I said, this is what I'm getting to. I said, over 5 years ago, I wrote a goal that I wanted to be in the book. He said, you're kidding me. Over groups. And as the more I talked, he started getting really excited. He said, this is just unbelievable. He said, can you send me a sample or whatever? And I boxed up a copy of our reports. We do reports at the end of the year, and I boxed up literally a box of sample reports. Sent it to him, never heard a thing for 6 months. And my mastermind buddies and partners, they started getting upset with me. You should not have done that. We don't know who he is. And he could have just been, profiteering off of our information. And finally, he came back, he called me up, and he said, Ms. McNeill, let me tell you something. He said, in all of our research, nobody has ever, from the Napoleon Hill days, nobody has ever done what you've done. He said, every single person on our Napoleon Hill team, not only were we able to read every single annual report from all of your annual meetings, but we were actually also able to see the journey of people who started out very young, and 5-10 years in, we watched their progress from year over year over year over year of their reports. And he went on and on and on. And we became very, very close friends. He passed away the last couple of years, and he has connected me with people all over the world as a result of what we do inside of the International Mastermind Association. Now, that's another subject and conversation for another day and another mastermind group. We'll send all of you the details on that. But I just want to show you the benefit and power and value of what we do here. Now, I talked earlier about this particular book, How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group, and I'm glad Sydney's on here. That's this book. And I wrote this to help individuals learn how to start their own free family and friends mastermind group. Because many of us, myself included, we pay lots of money to other people to be in their mastermind groups, thousands of dollars a year. But then we also have our own paid mastermind groups where people pay me thousands of dollars a year. But I knew that there had to be people out there like me where I was, not where I am, but people who were where I was in their family that would love to have some best practices. And so in the writing of this book and the workbook, I give you all of the steps to start your own free family and friends mastermind group, from the sample survey questions to the agendas, the first meeting, the second meeting, the third meeting, all of these. And if you're interested in that, please scan the QR code and we will follow up with you to give you more information on how to start your own mastermind group. So we're going to start wrapping up. This is one of my favorite books on families, and it talks about, it's written by Stephen Covey. Most people are familiar with his book, entitled 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but very few people are familiar with his book entitled 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. And this is the book, gosh, 20 some odd years ago, that got me focusing on my family. And one little quick story about my family. When I first read this book, and I realized Stephen Covey himself had 7 or 8 children, and he talked about how he had a date with each child. He said, if you have more than one child, your child only wants their parent. They don't want siblings. They just want some time with their parent. And that's something that oftentimes when you have a sibling yourself, you don't oftentimes think about that, but you really do want your mom. This is my mom. Yes, I have 4 or 5 other siblings, but this is my dad. And so what he shared he would do is he would take each child and he would schedule them into his calendar, and he would schedule time once a month with each one of those children, and they knew the same day, same time, every month. Nothing else came between him and that appointment. And if he had to travel or anything like that, he still kept that commitment, especially with the little children, because he would read bedtime stories. He would leave one at home, a book, and he would carry one in his briefcase. So he gave me so many ideas. I started implementing those ideas with my children and also my grandchildren, which is one of the reasons why that 3-year-old was reading the book, Think and Grow Rich. But the next slide is going to show family mission statement. Now, these are some samples. You can go to Google, you can go to a lot of places and create your own family mission statement. This is just one here on the screen. And if we can get, if you can go back to that last one, please. And if we can get someone to volunteer to read that.
I can read it. Family mission statement. As a family, we will strive to be honest in our dealings with those around us. We will demonstrate integrity in all that we do. We will treat others as we would like to be treated. We will provide meaningful service to others. We will enjoy and appreciate the blessings of life. We will achieve this by putting the Lord first in our lives.
Now, this you can create your own. This is another one. If someone would read that one, please.
See new adventures. This is the Buckus Family Mission. Live, love, and learn. Seek new adventures. Choose happiness. Love each other. Always be curious and learn. Attitude is everything. Be respectful. Act with kindness. Nurture friendships. Be grateful. Have faith. That is family mission statement example number 3. Number 2.
Okay, Imelda, someone could read that, please. The third one.
Because God has chosen us and made us holy through his love, we are compassionate and kind to all. We are humble and consider others before ourselves. We are patient and gentle in our actions and our speech. We love each other. We love each other well. Okay. Because Jesus loved us first. We ask for forgiveness and we forgive each other as Christ has forgiven us. We pray instead of worry, and we let the peace of Jesus rule in our hearts. We are grateful, not entitled. We work hard and give generously. We love God's word and believe what it says. We use God's word to teach, encourage, and guide each other. And we fill our home with scripture and songs. We remember that everything we have comes from the Lord, and whatever we do in his name. And we are thankful because we have, now the bottom is really small here, let me see if I can get this. Because we have a hope that is firm and secure, salvation and
Underserved gift from the Lord, that we could never have earned on our own.
Yes. This is our family, and we are His.
So those are just some sample ideas of what you can do, and you can create your own. I would strongly encourage you from reading the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you have one other person in your family, you cannot write this by yourself. It must be a group effort. And I'm a witness that the more people you have, the longer it's going to take to be in total agreement with the family. This is our family mission statement. We are loving, peaceful, patient, and kind to each other. We speak to share our gifts with the world as a family of speakers and authors. That's our family mission statement. And we are speakers. All of us are speakers, including the little ones. And we are also authors. And so that's it. And so it took us months to come up with that statement. It took us months to come up with that. Now, this is an annual meeting. We just made a decision today to extend our Yes, We Did. By great demand, we extended the discount. It is called Help Me, Sydney, Black History Month. It's the Black History Month discount. So for those of you that have not registered yet, you do have, it's till the end of this month. There is a slight increase from the early bird, but you can still register at a discount. And if you have any friends or family, please let them know, because I cannot tell you the number of people that reached out to me, and it always happens, and they missed the deadline, and they want to know, can I register? And it's not fair, really, to those who pre-registered at the early bird. So this will be it until toward the end of the year when the price goes up again. So you can go to internationalmasterminders.com and you can register for that meeting. Internationalmasterminders with an S.com, and you can register there. This is our Think and Grow Rich Friday Accountability Mastermind. That's every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can register at this link, and you can also go to our website and you can register there too. On Saturday, we have a live stream that we do, which is Mastermind Live. We host and we invite a guest, and I'm going to invite every single one of you to please consider coming on and being a guest on that podcast. It's every Saturday, and we start in the month of January with the principle of desire. The next month, which is February, we start with the principle of faith. And each month, we focus the entire month on the next principle until we get to the end of the year. And then in the beginning of the year, we start all over again. And we've been doing this now almost 20 years. Yes, almost 20 years. And this is how we keep each other connected and fresh. Now, this is our McNeill Factor Clarity Mastermind monthly meeting. It is the first Tuesday of each month, and would like to just kind of check in with all of you. We're going to go ahead and prepare to wrap up. And if you are a guest and you're interested in joining, if you want to raise your virtual hand, excuse me, to join us as a member of our McNeill Factor Clarity Mastermind, I'm going to take a moment and give you a chance to raise your hand or put something in the chat. We're going to prepare to wrap up and wish our guests a well-being so that we can go to our second part of this meeting, which is for members only, as we connect with our members to focus on their goals for the upcoming month, which is what we do every month. And just as an aside, this is a free zone, if you will, for communication. This is really about you and the introspection that you would like to do for yourself. And I see Cleveland is interested, so Michelle and Victoria, we will put you in a breakout with Michelle, and she will go ahead and take care of that and get you registered. And if anybody else, if you would like to just put that in the chat, we can move you to the breakout session with Michelle. And thank you, Veronica. Okay. So with that, we're going to ask everybody to continue to think and grow richer as a part of our Clarity Mastermind, but also remember to niche to be richer. And all of the details and questions, information is on our website at annmcneill.com. I have no problem in sharing my cell number if any of you would like to reach out to me with any questions or comments. That number is 786-546-0184, 786-546-0184. And until next time, I'm going to say have a great day from Crystal Serenity World Cruise as we continue to cruise the world. All right?